Alrighty, my name is Derek, and not that I have already obtained all of these things or have already done all of them perfect, but I would like to share with you a few thoughts that the Lord has given me and that I have learned from experience concerning accountability and accountability relationships. It starts with the why, the purpose. Why are you in accountability? Why do you have an accountability partner or in an accountability relationship? First of all, I would like to say that what it is not just a place to give a report, right? You show up, you give a report, you either get rewarded or punished. And then you either feel failure and shame or victory and proud because of the report that you can give, right? It's not just that. Accountability, where it starts, the why, the purpose should be that it is an attempt to fight better. To fight better in the battle for purity, for healthiness, for recovery, to whatever hurt, habit, or hang-up that you are dealing with. It is all about actually helping to actually move towards better healthiness, towards better recovery, towards better whatever it is that you are dealing with. It is not just to check a box. It is not just a report. And it should be a relationship, not just a meeting, right? The relationship is meant so that you can fight together, so that you can fight for each other in a relationship. In that relationship, right, you will be able to give support, encouragement, affirmation, and help if requested, and help as requested by the other person. Because you are going to fight together, you are going to fight for each other, because this is your attempt to fight better. It is not supposed to be a time that you can just meet and should on each other, right? Should on you, meaning you should have done this, you should have done that, right? Because you're not necessarily trying to show up and then fix each other or explain to the other person what all their problems or issues are. You are trying to support, you are trying to encourage, you are trying to affirm, but yes, you will also be trying to help. But you don't want to be trying to heap on each other judgment, condemnation, shame, guilt. You want to fight together and fight for each other. So instead of trying to fix each other, perhaps a good response is trying to figure out how you can specifically help to fight for each other to overcome whatever hurt, habit, or hang-up you're dealing with, and to move towards better healthiness and move towards better recovery. Because you see, most of the time, we know what we need. We know what we should have done. We don't need someone to tell us. We know what we need, but are we willing to actually ask for someone to help us with that need? We know how we should be kept accountable. But will we tell someone what they can actually do, practically speaking, specifically speaking, in order to help us fight? So let's move into the practical speaking things, what this kind of relationship where you fight together, you fight for each other, looks like. One, you're going to have in-person meetings, and these in-person meetings should be able to become unmasked, unfiltered, brutal, honest sharing with each other. You see, this relationship is going to take time to develop and to manifest through trust, through vulnerability, through mutual openness and sharing. A relationship has to be built, but eventually you want meetings to be able to be a place where you feel safe and confident to share unmasked, unfiltered, and brutal, honest in an honest way with the other person. So for me, in a meeting, I like to have a set of self-chosen questions that will be talked through every time that you meet. Because sometimes you meet together and it's like difficult. How am I going to bring up this issue or this topic? And do I want to bring it up? Do I wait for the other person to bring it up? And then it gets awkward and hard and you might not ever be brought up. Well, if you just have a set of self-chosen questions specific to what you know you need in regards to your hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and you know that every single time you meet, you're going to talk about those things or ask those questions or bring up those topics, or you're going to need to share about that particular topic or issue, then you don't have to deal with that awkwardness. It's always going to be brought up, and you may have some really difficult things you need to share, or you may not, and you can feel confident to share those. It's going to help you make those inventories to share about specific hurts, habits, and hangups. This is the part typically where people turn it into just a report. But it's not meant to be a report. It's meant to be unmasked, unfiltered, brutal, honest sharing about where you really are, what's really happening, for the purpose of going, so how can we fight together and fight for each other to address this in the best possible way to move towards healthiness and move towards recovery. For the purpose of going, so how can we fight together and fight for each other to address this in the best possible way to move towards healthiness and move towards recovery. So in that response to that time, right, it's not, like I said before, it's not about trying to fix each other or should on each other to give judgment, condemnation, shame, or guilt. No, you're looking for support, you're looking for encouragement, you're looking for affirmation, but you are actually looking to fight for each other and to fight for each other. So you need to ask that question. How can I fight for you specifically? And if the other person's answer, honestly, is just, well, just pray for me. Obviously, we want to pray for each other. Duh. But let's be honest here. If that's the response, that's kind of a little bit of a cop-out. Because you're just saying, pray for me, but you don't want any actual practical help. And you need to be thinking, you know what you need. Most of the time we know what we need. Will we ask the other person to actually do those things to fight for us? And if you're going to be trying to tell someone how they need to let you fight for them, that's probably not going to work either. Because you have to do it in a way that someone asks or requests. Otherwise, it's probably like, that's the part of the relationship though, and why you're even in it. Hopefully, your answer to this question is going to show why you're even in this. If you're just doing it to check a box or to give a report or whatever, or are you actually seeking to try to really move forward in your healthiness and in your recovery? The way you answer this question is really going to reveal a lot about that. Another thing, practically speaking, right? You want the relationship to move into a place, which could take time, where there's an open door where you can check in and check on with each other, right? That might even just be done through a text, right? You might be checking in. You may have some sort of very simple format or certain ways that you talk about things or code words or whatever, I don't know, where you can send a text message to someone. It could be daily, it could be weekly or whatever, but the fact is that you're going to check in with each other through some text message or something like that. And there's an open door. There's an expectation that you're going to check in with each other. And there's also an open door to check on each other, right? Sometimes someone sends you a text message and they're like, hey, how are you doing with this or whatnot, but you didn't actually give them that open door. And so your response is, who are they to ask me how I'm doing? How are you doing? In this relationship, there should be an open door that you will check in, but also allow the other person to check on. And there should be an expectation that at some point, someone's going to check in on or check on me, right? And I may check on the other person. And lastly, you want that relationship to move into a trusted, open place where in a time of need, in the heat of temptation, in that moment where it's like pull the alarm because you are right in the middle of temptation, you can call someone, you can reach out to this person without fear of shock, without fear of judgment, to say, hey, look, here's where I'm at, here's what's going on, here's the temptation I'm facing, boom. And that's going to take time to move into that place, into that kind of relationship. But that's the kind of relationship that you want, where you can sort of call like a fire drill in that situation. And those are my thoughts concerning accountability and that type of relationship. Again, though I have not already obtained all of that or have already done all of it perfect, but I do believe that is a much better and healthier way to approach accountability and have accountable relationships. Thanks.